Hello, my friends. Welcome to my Living Wisdom series. Today's topic is where did Indigenous Taiwanese come from and when? I'm Dr. Tenderlin, a professor and a psychologist. The reason I want to speak about this topic is because of my one video on YouTube, 咖喱是台湾文献主人. In this video, a lot of people was really interested on how indigenous Taiwanese come to Taiwan and when. But at that time, I feel the Taiwanese archaeologists, they are not quite sure about how to answer this question. And I personally spoke about it, but I'm not quite firm about my position. And today I feel a need for me to further clarify my position on this topic. Therefore, I make this video today. In the first video, I mentioned about 4 documents, and figure today I need to bring it up and share with you again to further clarify these 4 documents. The first 2 documents is The Journey of Man, a Genetic Odyssey, and The Great Human Migration by Smithsonian Magazines. And reading these 2 documents, right now I want to specifically point out these 4 points of view. First one is about 60,000 years ago, modern humans, they walked out of Africa, either from Egypt or Ethiopia. And the second point is 45,000 years ago, this modern human, they came to Indonesia, archipelago, and Australia. And about 40,000 years ago, the modern human, they also went through Turkey and a Mediterranean coast, come to Europe. And about 15,000 years ago, modern human crossed from Asia to North America and come to South America. This is the timeline, and very important to remember all these 4 different times and how the modern human migrate to the world. The other 2 documents were produced by Taiwanese archaeologists. One is to do with something cultural heritage that happened about 20 or 30,000 years ago, and another one is produced by Taiwanese archaeologists too about Lanka cultural heritage. It happened about 5 or 6,000 years ago. And in light of late Pleistocene, at that time, North Indian Ocean and Southeastern Asia are very much like a land bridge. So we can imagine the modern human can either walk from Bangkok, Thailand to Sydney, Australia, and they can either walk from Bangkok, Thailand to Philippines and Taiwan too. So there's no question about how they can migrate from Indian Ocean to Taiwan. But the major question that Taiwanese archaeology is saying that in 20 or 30,000 years ago, modern humans come to Taiwan, they don't produce any agriculture, farming, or anything like that. There's a really few, or just leftover is just something some stone carving, that's all. Very simple life. But in 5 or 6,000 years ago, these modern humans already have some agriculture living, ocean living too. So they kind of feel there's a gap, a big gap in between the two. And the reason is for that gap to happen, I personally feel that modern humans, when they come to camping this east coast of Taiwan, at that time they might just uh, venture into the central mountain, deep inside, and they lost contact with each other and end up they speak different language right now. They cannot communicate with each other. So this is understandable as far as the human being living is concerned. The way I see it, this branch of human migration that started from Ethiopia is quite different from the one who started from Egypt, because from Ethiopia they were right next to the oceans and they will migrate along the Indian Ocean. So their life are really close tied to the ocean. They not just walking on the land bridge, they are sailing in the ocean too. And they catch the fish, seashells, and now they are eating a lot of seafood too. And here I can show you just one little bit simple thing. In 2004, when I took a trip to Norway, I happened to be in the museum, see a sailor 4 hectare. He used his Contiki raft to prove that this branch of migration, they are very good in sailing in the Pacific Ocean. They can sail as far as to Peru. And really, that is really fantastic. In 2011, I took a trip to New Zealand. I even at the museum, I saw the Morris raft in their museum. I was shocked because it's Morris raft. Really look much the same like a Lanyu people's raft in Taiwan. So you can see how far all these uh, migration people, their ocean navigation ability. So they are not just walking. Even I can imagine if they want to walk to Taiwan, some they can walk by land bridge. If there's no land bridge, they can sail to as far as they want to. So we can imagine their sailing ability besides walking ability. Okay, after I share with you on these 4 previous documents, from here on, I'm going to share with you my new experience on the subject. First one I want to share with you is on the Google search. I found a very related genetic study about the subject. And this genetic study title is the Indonesian Archipelago, an Asian genetic highway linking Asia and the Pacific. I took several times read this article over and over again. And finally, I found out he come up with three relevant findings. First finding, he said, the Indonesian community are trending away from the matriarchy or and the locality of early Austronesian society toward a more common practice of patriarchal residency. And the other two findings, generally speaking, is to say that Filipino and Indigenous Taiwanese are generally more common in the east than in the west of Indonesia, where this is very understandable to me too, because Taiwan and Philippines are more close to the east of the Indonesia rather than the west. So this finding is very making a very common sense. Another one also say that mitochondrial linkage also between the Philippine and Taiwanese of origin people. So all these two genetic findings really support the linkage between Taiwan and the Philippines and the East Indonesia Island. In addition to reading on the sites, I also took a personal trip. I joined Wendy's Deluxe World Travel and signed up for Indonesian archipelago from Singapore to Bali trip. I spent about over 23 days on the islands. You know, Indonesians have over 1,700 islands. A lot of islands. It says some of the islands don't even have anybody living in it. And they have 1,300 ethnic groups. And all these groups constitute about 95% of their population. That means people from another countries, such as China, India, and Europe, constitute only a small portion of their population, 5% or less. So basically speaking, Indonesia is a one-tribe nation. And when I tour this tour group, we get to see, talk to the people, and all the way through. And I enjoy very much in touch with their culture, their food, and their hospitalities. But during the trip, we do have some very exciting moments, and I'd like to share with you. The first one, we went to the forest jungle, get to see orangutan. This is a wild animal. This animal, he can climb up to the big tall tree and can jump, swing from one branch to another branch. Wow, it's really fascinating. And we even get to see how people feed this type of eggs too. Another thing is monkey. These monkey here are very clever. We one time visit a park, even have monkey come and grab glasses from one tourist and smash the glasses right in front of the tourist. Wow, this is really too much of a show. Another thing is beach. One time we will walk in the rainforest, and one of our tourist guy, he wear the slipper like a sekida. And when we come back from the trip, get into the boat, he was shocked because there are two leeches on his foot, sucking the blood out of his foot. It's kind of really scary. Not only that, when we want to go from the boat to the island, another scary moment is we have to ride zodiac and they get in and out of the zodiac. Is a risky business too, especially for older people. Especially at some time we got some raining day, kind of really slippery. We have one passenger kind of fell down to the boat. So all these things kind of exciting adventures feeling during the trip. And but overall, I still enjoy my trip. The enjoy part, amusing part, like mind-boggling part, everything is more than the frightening part. So basically, I enjoy this trip very much. Indonesia's our bus running through the street, and it really impressed. It's really orderly, even though there are a lot of motorcycles on the street. But generally speaking, it's really orderly. I don't see any really many policemen on guard. And the site we visit, wow, they always show all kind of dance. I was so impressed the way they dance and the way the dancers move their eyes, their finger, have their unique speciality. So generally speaking, Indonesians are practicing their ethnic rituals, customs, wearing their traditional clothes, and speaking their Austronesian language. You can see all the pictures I show down here at all different places. You will see that they are very much traditional in their lifestyle. I remember in Bali when we visit one of the Buddhist temples, a school of children come also visit too, and they are so friendly, want to take picture with us, and don't show that much afraid of foreigner at all. They are very friendly, easier like to talk to people, and I really enjoy in the culture aspect of their life. Particularly, I want to mention two things in the cultural events I see. They are really heart-touching on my part. The reason I say heart-touching is this. These two events is exactly the same experience I had when I was a small kid lived in Taiwan. Same experience, same events to me. Upon looking at it, I always, in my head, I always thinking about, wow, who comes first? Do we learn from them or they learn from us? And I basically, inside my heart, I tend to think, is my ancestor in Taiwan learn from them rather than they learn from us. because historically speaking, they were running ahead of us. Well, what I'm talking about here, two events. First one I want to talk about is puppet show. I call it puppet show, but they call it Wayang Kulit. When I look at their show, they were using like a bamboo stick, and they really is a puppet show. It's just my same. When I was smoking, we talk about Bodehi. But the Bodehi, she is a hand wearing some kind of glove of cloth and have a show. But here, the puppet show is they use a stick figure, and but basically is also show a story of whatever they want to show. And this the puppet show is really same tune, same expression, way of expressing of a story, like in Taiwan. And I was really impressed with it. Another one is they call it balloon dance. A balloon is some kind of wild animal, really close to lion. But this thing, I saw it in elementary school at a body. It's really much like when I was smoking in Taiwan, what I see is tiger dance, Lang Ho Sai. Very interesting. They also use the balloon dance to explain a story about how the good thing fight the bad evil, and also want to bring the good thing to the family. Very much the same. When I was a small kid in Taiwan, this Lang Ho Sai always want to bring the good luck to the family too. So very much the same. And these two things are really, really touch in my heart because it was made me remember the old thing when I was small kid, when I was 70 years ago, 74 years ago, when I experienced, I really keep thinking about how these two cultural events come about. Do we learn from them or they learn from us? And I personally feel, I think is we learn from them. And I hope somebody can do a study on it, give me an answer on this point. I'm almost come to the end of my today's presentation. And I got to tell you, deep down inside my heart, I go through the study, go through the trip, I go through the review of my last videotape. I come to a conclusion, I come to a feeling that the Indonesians and the Indigenous Taiwanese, they are very much similar. And I would like to say they belong to the same tribe. And here I show you two pictures I took. One is I just took it this year. I took it at Pasar Panjang, Indonesia. I watched when I go down there, watch the Arrow House dance. And after the dance, I asked them, can I take a picture with them? So me and my wife and the other guy take a picture with them. This is the picture I took. Another picture is, wow, this is 2008, long time ago. I went to Taiwan, visit the night tribe village in Salmon Lake, and they also have a day show. After that, I asked them, to take a picture with me. And I posted to here. Basically, can you look at it? Just be honest with me. Don't you think they are really much alike? The way they dress, the way they smile, the way they show their face, and even the way the head they wear, even those feathers, even the feathers here are very much the same. And they are several thousand miles away from each other. And in time, I don't think they're able to talk to each other. That's the way they want to do. But in what opportunity they can come up with such so fantastic and right in front of you, and the picture said it all. Say, we are the same. That's my feeling. They are very much the same. And I put down 4 points down here. First point I want to say, both of them are Indonesians. They are in the same line of migration. And I remember, but at my first 2 videos, I show you they migrated from Ethiopia in Africa, go through the Indian Ocean, come to Indonesia archipelago, then they went up past the Philippines and come to Taiwan. So actually, they are the same line of migration. And this line of migration is very different from the Arab people. They belong to the brown people. They are very different from the Arab people's migration. My ancestor come from Fujian to Taiwan. To me, up to me, is the 14th generation already. And I belong to the Arab people, and this Arab people migration is from Africa too, but they are out of Egypt, go through the Central Asia. Most importantly, they pass Gobi Desert. They come to the Yellow River, Changjiang River, then finally come to Taiwan. And the Gobi Desert, you know, too much sand. It's really hard for the people. So our ancestors out go through the Gobi Desert. Right now, their descendants, like me, over the eye are half open. When I come to the United States to study, those white people's kids, when I'm working with them, they always ask me, Dr. Lin, how come your eyes are half open? Can't you open up your eyes? And that is true. That's basically the feature of the Arab people. But the Indonesians and the Taiwanese of origin, they belong to the brown people. Their skin is darker, and the basic feature, their eyes are wide open. It's different from us. And not only that, they speak different language. They speak Austronesian language, and they are very much dealing with each other in their traditional lifestyle. And that is really my feeling. I think when you looking at these 2 pictures, you got to agree with me. You don't need to do archaeological studies to dig this. No, we can feel directly, psychologically speaking. I can feel they are in the same line of migration, and belong to the same tribe. Okay, today my speech starts from the question where Indigenous Taiwanese, when they come to Taiwan and where they come from. And to the question, right now I come to the last video tape. I've answered that question. So my answer is very assertive answer. That is, the Indigenous Taiwanese came from Indonesian archipelago and arrived at Taiwan at least 11,700 years ago. Okay? The reason I say 11,700 years ago, because that's the scientifically defined during the Ice Age. That is the last 11,700 years ago. So although the Taiwanese archaeology, they find the Changbin Wenhua heritage site, they say Indigenous Taiwanese arrived in Taiwan some 20 or 30,000 years ago. That could be true. And I think might be true. But I just to be reserved on my point. I say at least 11,700 years ago, they are already there. And so I hope my Taiwanese countrymen agree with me, because they always have this question, when and where the Indigenous Taiwanese come from. Well, right here, I specifically give you the answer. Thank you very much. I hope you like it, and subscribe to my channel, and I see you next time.